Well, it's that time again. Let's walk in faith, talk about anime, and grow together. Welcome to Rev's Otaku Talk. Hey fam, welcome back to Rev's Otaku Talk, the podcast where faith and fandom collide. I'm your host Rev, and with me is my co-host K2.
Howdy, howdy.
And this is Season 3, The Character of Characters. In this season, we will be taking a deep dive into the hearts, minds, and moral journeys of some of the most unforgettable characters in anime. This season, we're going beyond the battles, beyond the art, and beyond the hype. We're breaking down what truly makes a character compelling, their choices, their struggles, their growth, and what their stories can teach us about purpose, identity, and perseverance. From heroes to villains, side characters to legends, we'll explore how character shapes the story and how it can shape ours. So power up, press play, and get ready, because this is Rev's Otaku Talk. Let's get started. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at the character of UA's number one bad boy, Bakugo. Bakugo from My Hero Academia is a loud, confident student who wants more than anything to become the number one hero. His power lets him create explosions from his hands, which makes him very strong in battle. He can be mean, quick-tempered, and always trying to prove that he's the best, especially against his rival Izuku Midoriya. Even though he acts tough and angry most of the time, he works very hard and slowly learns what it really means to be a true hero. Okay, too, whenever I started looking at this episode, honestly, I thought about you. I know that Bakugo is like your guy, man.
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite. In recent memories, definitely one of my standout favorites.
So what about him sticks out to you?
For me, I mean, outside of the earlier seasons, I mean, yeah, he's a bit of a butt. I didn't like him to start off, but I say I started really liking his character during the second movie, and probably right after the first big fight they have with the villain. That's probably when I saw his character change, and I really started to like his character.
Yeah, now me, I'm in the last season. We were talking about it before. I'm in the last season, but I have not watched the movies. Which is probably a mistake on my part, but I need to watch the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people have told me that watching the first movie, you know, is kind of a hit or miss thing.
Yeah, the first one is just a reintroduction of all the characters, and for me it's a miss. The second and third are definitely watches.
Okay. So me, I'm weird. I'm going to end up watching all three of them anyway because I can't just skip one.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you, though, whenever it comes to the seasonal points. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I didn't like Bakugo really as a character at the beginning, but I felt bad for the guy. Yeah. You know, just something about him made me feel bad for him. I know that he was, you know, he was put up as the bully.
Yep.
And he had a bad attitude, and he was, you know, abusive and stuff like that. But there were moments where it's like, you know, I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah.
And that may be a thing from my past.
Yeah.
That makes me feel that way.
Nobody checked his ego. That's the thing. Even like when you see the little brief instances of his home life, his mom just keeps pushing him to go harder and faster.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, whenever you got a parent behind you that's pushing you like that, what can you do?
Yep.
I mean, at that point, you are a product of your environment. And it's sad that, you know, people have to go through that in real life.
Yep.
You know, in school, I knew a lot of Bakugos. I knew a lot of, you know, just big, mean bullies, and they didn't care. They shot their mouth off without thinking. They acted irrationally without thinking. And, you know, I didn't like them. I didn't care for them. I didn't want to be around them. I definitely didn't want them to be approaching me.
Yeah.
But then you kind of learn a little bit about what they're going through at home. And then it's like, oh, I get it. You know, and now it's like, dude,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
not
bad
you.
for you now.
It's it's them letting out their rage they can, or their emotions that they don't know how to release anywhere else.
Now, little known fact, a funny fact. Whenever I was growing up, and community events would be done either with the church or not, me and my mom were clowns. You know, clown suit, big shoes, big red nose, face paint, the bright orange, afro or whatever, we were clowns, and we would do it for events, and I would make balloon animals and stuff like that. And I was doing this stuff from like the age of 9, 10 up into my early teens.
Okay.
So I did it for a few years, and it was fun at the time. Whenever I outgrew the clown suit, I did not get a bigger one. I was done. I retired and hung up the nose. But there was one event I was at, and at school I had this bully who would just randomly come up to me and punch me in the stomach and stuff just because he could. I didn't know why or anything. He was just one angry kid. And he showed up at this event that I was a clown at. Now, I had enough on me that he didn't recognize who I was. And he came running up to me. It's the only time I've ever seen this kid smile. He ran up to me and he goes, "Dude, I love clowns. Can I squeeze your nose, And I saw a different side of him at that point. But then I saw how his parents treated him at that event, because I saw that smile disappear whenever one of the parents started acting way off. And at that point, it was like, okay, even though I was younger, at that point I understood. He's in pain.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to get out of the problem, And for a brief moment, I put a smile on this guy's face. Didn't know who I was. I did not come up and tell him that I was the clown at school or anything like that. He still to this day doesn't know it was me. But because I was in that position, I was able to learn what was behind the curtain.
Right.
And a lot of people who are like Bakugo, that seems to be the deal.
Yeah.
There's something else driving that. It's not because that's the way they are. Bullying, the word bully nowadays is used so loosely.
Yeah.
And it's because, it's mostly because of social media. Back in school, our bullies bullied us face to face. Now, bullying is somebody saying something unsavory on social media. Like, dude, people try to dunk our heads in toilets. They tried to throw us in trash cans,
I was too big for that. All I got were the verbal abuses.
Oh, they found out that I was really strong. I looked weaker than I was. I was a big bone solid kid. And at 3 foot, I weighed like 150 pounds. So I wasn't a skinny dude. I was big. But I was solid, there's no other way to put it. I knew how to use my weight.
Yeah.
And one instance, I had a bully who tried to shove my head. 2 of them tried to shove my head in a toilet.
Wow.
And funny enough, one of them was class president. And I walked in, and he was taking a leak in the soap dispenser. And I just turned around and I went to walk out. I'm going to go tell admin because this is disgusting. And well, they pulled me back in, and they tried to shove me into the handicap stall and stick my head in the toilet. And I pushed my legs up against the wall, knocked them into the stall, and I shoved one of them into the toilet, and the other one I shoved out the door. And I booked it out of there.
Yep.
Like, dude, ain't no way. This ain't happening.
Nope.
I went to the office and I'm like, look, our Mr. President was peeing in the soap dispenser. Him and his buddy tried to shove my head in the toilet. They probably need to go to the nurse because I'm gonna stand up for myself.
Yep.
You know, and me and the class president ended up becoming friends, you know, later on down the road. And the other guy, I have no idea. He went to a completely different school. Another time was, you know, did you do safety patrol up in New York?
No.
In elementary schools down here, once you hit 5th grade, they got the safety patrol program. Well, I was in the safety patrol program in 5th grade, and they actually gave us ranks back then.
What was that, like a hall monitor, right?
Yeah,
Is that what it is? Okay.
Except for they gave us, you know, a weird neon-colored sash thing, and they gave us badges.
Okay.
And back then, we had ranks. So, you know, your lieutenants,
Yep.
sergeant, captains, generals. You know, we actually had ranks, and we would work through the ranks.
Cool.
And I got to captain.
Nice.
I didn't go above captain. Why, I have no idea. I got demoted to a lieutenant because of the story that I'm going to tell you. A general, they're called the Golden Generals because their badge is gold, you know, and that was like the thing. Only 2 people could get the general rank. I was not one of them. But that was whenever rolling backpacks started coming out.
Okay.
So now we're really telling my
our age. Yep.
So I was one of the first kids to bring a rolling backpack to school, and I didn't bring it. You know, I didn't buy it because it was a rolling backpack.
Yeah.
I bought it because speakers were built into it.
Okay.
And I've always been an audio guy.
Yep.
I love speakers. I love music, and that was the reason why I got it. And one of the generals tried running past me and stealing my backpack because he wanted a rolly backpack. And again, I'm a big boy. I know how to use my weight.
Yep.
So he tried to take it, and I pulled my weight back into it, and I pulled it out of his hands, and he started swinging at me. You know, it's like, dude, you could have just ran off. No, this dude starts trying to swing at me, starts trying to throw me into the wall and everything else. Well, he's half my size.
Yep.
I mean, he's tall, but weight-wise, he's half me.
Yep.
And I picked him up and threw him headfirst into a trash can, and I got a referral for that. And whenever I explained to the principal what was going on, the principal kind of took pity on me for it. But because I assaulted him, I had to take the punishment. My punishment was I ate lunch with the principal in his office for 2 days, and then they let me go. He got suspension. You know, he got like a week in school and a week out of school. You know? His punishment was way worse, but because I assaulted, I got to hang out with the principal for 2 days. He was a really cool guy, and he talked to me about, you know, what should I have done?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he shouldn't have done what he did, and if he wouldn't have started trying punching me, and he would have just walked off, nothing would have happened. I really wouldn't have cared, but I had to defend myself.
Yeah, and that's where the issue is today. You can't defend yourself.
Yeah, see, back then, I got to eat lunch with the principal for 2 days and just hang out with him and talk one-on-one. Really cool guy, really chill, and he made sure that I learned a lesson in a productive way.
Yeah.
You know, and he understood that it was self-defense, and he's like, how can we take a self-defense moment and turn it into something else, you know? And it was a teaching moment.
Yep.
But he did not knock self-defense, where now I've taken my son out of schools because of the fact that they tried to give him suspension for self-defense because the teachers wouldn't do anything.
That's so wrong.
And you know, that's what I'm saying. Bullying has become such a loose term.
Yeah.
And I think that's what compelled me to continue watching my hero was the fact that the bullying was physical.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it was relatable. Because I got bullied so much growing up that eventually I became the bully. I wanted to get even. I wanted revenge, and that's when my life started taking a turn for the negative, and that's where, I half kind of related to Bakugo, but because of my experience, that's where I felt bad for him, because it's like, now I want your backstory.
Yeah.
I want to know where you're at. Because to me, Bakugo was neurotic.
Yeah.
And for everybody who doesn't know exactly what neurotic is somebody who is very anxious, and they act out of emotion.
Yeah.
And it's usually violent out of emotion. 99% of the time, it's a violent reaction. We were just talking about the Italian Job off the mic, and there's a point in the Mark Wahlberg version of the Italian Job where the dad looks at him and he goes, "How are you doing? How you feeling?" And Mark Wahlberg's character goes, "I'm fine." And he goes, "You know what FINE stands for, right?" He goes, "Yeah. Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional." And that, to me, sums up Bakugo.
Yeah.
At the beginning, he was freaked out because Midoriya jumps in to save him. He's neurotic because the dude is always on edge. And it has to, as we watch him throughout the seasons, we find out that he's actually a very anxious dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he acts out of anger.
Yeah.
He's insecure about who he is.
Very
and whenever
insecure. It's written all over him. That is his character. He's insecure.
And that, we really see that in not the final season, but the season before, when he breaks down with Midoriya.
Yep.
And he just lets it loose.
When they had that outdoor fight, right?
Yeah,
that's the one you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's not like it was before, whenever he found out that All Might gave him his power and he was just being a jerk. Mm-hmm. No, this is him in tears, broke down, crying, letting his insecurities out. So to me, that's whenever I started liking him.
That was the big turning point for me.
And you see how much emotion's pent up in it.
Yep.
And it's, those are all negative characteristics of somebody, what about that episode stood out for you? What was the big thing?
For me, I think it was just him, actually, breaking down and showing his true emotions.
Yeah, I think you really saw his true self.
Yeah, his true self, yeah.
You saw that boy in the flashbacks.
Yep.
And yeah, his character has to be the most complex character.
Yeah.
Out of any of them, you'd think that Midoriya would be, because he literally has multiple personalities coursing through him. And he went through his phases, emo phase, where he was the anti-hero.
Yeah.
He had his Spider-Man phase. That's what I call the beginning, where he's learning everything, and he's a big goofball, and just, oh yeah, I'm gonna get more power, more power, more power. With great power comes great responsibility moments, all in it, And then he had the anti-hero thing, and then it goes into, okay, now you're becoming a true hero.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that his character's complex. No, he's a regular superhero to me.
Yeah.
But the layer in Bakugo.
Yeah.
The layers. I haven't finished the last season, and I'm expecting to see more layers coming off of him. He is the onion that Shrek and Donkey were talking about. Layers.
Yep.
I'm waiting to see. Okay. Take me to the core of the onion,
Yep.
I'm really excited about it. Did you notice any positive characteristics about Bakugo?
Oh, tons. He never stops. He always believes in himself. He's diligent. He's I'm thinking back to when they're at the training summer camp, and he's doing a lot of like the cook prep. He's doing, a lot of the stuff you wouldn't expect him to like be good at or useful at.
Yeah.
And he's like taking care of a lot of things.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of forgot about that part.
Yeah.
There were, because of the fact that I always see the angry part in
Yeah.
it. Even whenever he is happy and like in let's get this done
Yeah. Oh,
mode.
yeah. He's always
He's
full throttle.
Angry,
Yeah. It's angry happy. Yeah.
I don't know how you can be in the happy fury of life, but he definitely has it there. Because you look at his mom, and she's just about the same way. That's another thing, is he's almost a reflection of his mother.
Yeah.
Whenever they had to go into the schools to be protected during the fight and stuff like that, and Midoriya was out there doing everything on his own, and they had to fight to get him back in there, and they had to convince everybody to
let him back
do
in.
it, and at some point within the realm of that, Bakugo got hurt as well, and you see Bakugo's mom and Midoriya's mom comforting each other.
Yep.
And at the very moment that you started seeing Bakugo break apart, you also saw his mama break apart. It's like at that moment, the parent was learning from the child.
Yeah.
Which sometimes happens.
So it does happen.
Sometimes we have to learn to be childlike,
Yep.
not childish.
Yeah.
Childlike. Children have many good characteristics. They're humble, believe it or not. They're honest, they're trusting, they're loving, they're forgiving. They will let their emotions out. And they actually listen.
Yep.
They listen more than we think. And their problems can seem very mediocre to us, but to them it's huge.
Yep.
And to see a kid, see another kid hurt, they're compassionate, they're caring, and us as adults, we can learn from that, because we kind of lose those childlike characteristics as we grow. We hit that teenage period where we become very prideful and angsty and dumb.
Yep.
And then we go into adulthood, and sometimes we get a mix of the stuff coming back, but we still don't completely remember what it is to be childlike. So a lot of times I think us as adults, we go more back to childish, where it's the maturity level. As adults, we're not as mature as we think, but I think that is another big thing with Bakugo, is because of the fact that he got to a point where he showed his emotion. That where his mom had such an influence on him, at that point he had an influence on his mother. And I think that's another big thing, is if we take those characteristics of these heroes and we put it, and we watch it, we take it, we take the lesson from it, we can get out of it ourselves. And it reminds me of a verse, Matthew 6:27 through 34. It says, "Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes?" They're going to talk about the physical. It says, "Why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers in the field grow. They do not labor or spin, yet tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith?" So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after these things. And your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. It puts it into perspective. One, does worrying add a single hour to your life? In all reality, from a physical health standpoint, worrying takes time off your life.
That it does.
It ages your body faster. It wears your body down. Me, I am a big worrier. I will admit it. I worry about my family. I'm constantly in protection mode, and I've been like that for years. And you know, I have my reasons to be that way, and that's a little too personal to put out on this podcast. But I do. I worry a lot, and I'm having to learn, and I'm still having to learn how to let the guard down, how to just let stuff go, how to not worry. Because you can worry so much that you make yourself sick. Headaches, stomach issues. Your muscles themselves can start feeling the weight of being worried. So physically, yes, it can take time off of your life, and if it's not time of living life, it's time of quality of life that it can take from you. And it kind of, that right there, it's making a strong statement. This is what worrying gets you. Think about it. And then as it goes on, and it's talking about the stuff that we all tend to worry about, especially nowadays, whenever the cost of living is so high, yet we get paid peanuts. This is stuff that we worry about constantly. But if God is going to take care of the birds and the flowers and the bugs and all of his creation on earth, do you not think that he's going to take care of you? And I know that's a hard thing to think about, and it's a matter of faith, and it even says it in the verse, "O you of little faith," because it is a huge matter of faith.
It is.
Because we can see people who are homeless on the side of the street, who are not able to afford a home, or maybe they can afford a home, but due to something that happened in their past, they just can't do it. They can't be behind walls. They have to be out in the open, like some of our veterans who have come back from really terrible stuff. And there have been times in my life, both before Raver Mom and after Raver Mom, where we wondered where our food was coming from. We couldn't afford clothes. Our shoes and everything else were tattered up, and it was hard. We didn't know what we were gonna do, and in our worry, it just seemed like everything got worse. And whenever we took that leap of faith, and not even a big one, the Bible says if you have faith like the grain of a mustard seed, which is very tiny, you can tell a mountain to move from here to there and it'll move. True faith, just a very tiny amount, can make things happen. And it seems so easy. It seems very easy in perspective, but it's one of the hardest things in the world to do, because you are literally putting your hands into a God you cannot see, into a God that you can't hear. You can't, unless you really look, and take the time to listen, you're not going to experience what God has. But if you have just a tiny amount of faith, things can happen. For us, we didn't see what was in front of our face. God had the answer right there. Groceries appeared out of nowhere. check showed up in the mail.
Yep.
Somebody giving us clothes so that we can look good for work and, you know, actually get back into making the money. 1 year growing up, my parents were, they didn't know where Christmas was coming from. My mom was doing everything that she could. Weren't many presents going to be under the tree that year. And they were doing everything that they could to make it a good Christmas. And then teenagers knocked on the door. And you want to talk about bags upon bags of food and toys and presents and them just filling up our home.
Wow.
And it wasn't anything that my parents applied for.
Yeah.
Somebody, I guess, noticed something was going on, and there were some teenagers in the area that wanted to help somebody out, or help a couple of families, and they got our name. You know, they got our address, and they filled the fridge, they filled the pantry, they, you know, toys under the trees, not just for me, but for, you know, like stuff that my parents needed, like toiletries and clothing and stuff like that. And they didn't think that anything was going to be good. At that point, I was an only child. My brother wasn't in the picture yet. And they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know where the next meal was coming from. They didn't know anything. Whenever you can't afford soap or toilet paper, that's a big deal, you know? And they didn't know where anything was coming from, but they were not going to let their anxieties destroy what we did have. And through whatever means, God-fearing people who didn't know us from their right hand knew exactly what we needed. You know, and some people see that as fate, some people see that as luck. You know, for, you know, us as Christians, that was God intervening. That was the small amount of faith showing its face, you know. And it's not easy at all. It's not easy to have faith. Faith is one of the hardest things in the world. Faith literally is defined as believing in something you cannot see. You know, everybody says, oh, you can't see the wind, but you can feel its effects. We can't see God, but if we open our eyes, we can see where God has intervened in our lives. We can see his blessings. We just gotta look. And, you know, there are people out there in the world who just can't see it. We, you know, whenever it comes to people who are homeless, we lived in a house that was right on the main road. It was at a highway intersection. And there was two homeless people. They were a couple who panhandled next to our house. And they would shove their trash, you know, down the fence next to our house, which caused a mouse problem and everything else. And instead of being jerks about it, we went out there. We made sure they had water. We would bring them sandwiches. And throughout the course of time, because they were out there every day, except for Sundays, we talked to them. We got to know them. We got to know their situation. And we would keep a trash can out there for them to put their trash in. Be like, look, instead of throwing your trash on the ground, here's a trash can. And whenever it's time for the trash to be picked up, they'll just pick up the trash, you know, in the truck. No big deal. And come to find out that the reason why they were in that position was because of the fact that the wife had gotten stage 4 cancer. And they were having to panhandle because the husband could not leave her alone. The kids didn't want to help them at all. They didn't want to help take care of mom or anything. They kind of just
sad.
threw them off to the side. And they panhandled every day to pay for their bills and to try and pay for the trips to the hospital and medical bills. And they would hitchhike to the hospitals for her appointments and stuff. And we would always get worried whenever we didn't see them. And that was usually days where they had to hitchhike to a hospital while we were at work or something like that. Because we would always come home and make sure they were fed. And whenever we had a yard sale and stuff like that, you know, if I had some nice shirts or something that, you know, didn't fit me anymore, you know, I'd put them out there to sell or whatever like that. And we would have them have first pick of everything because, you know, he was trying to get a job at one of the stores right there at that intersection. And it's like, take this button-up shirt, take these slacks, you know. If you need to take a shower or something like that, you can take a shower inside. That way you can go to a job interview. And, you know, we'll make sure you're presentable and, you know, get you there. And we became very good friends with them. And it was a God thing. Even they said that we prayed for someone to understand, for someone to look out for us. For someone to make sure that my wife was fed every day, you know. And for them, we were an answered prayer to be the ones who bought that house,
right?
Yeah, or to rent that house.
Yeah.
And whenever you know, it was a little over a year, and the wife died, which was heartbreaking. I mean, it hit me and Raver Mom really hard, and the neighborhood of, you know, of people who were there, you know, in our neighborhood, because once we started getting to know them, other people started to get to know them.
Okay.
Because they would be walking down the street and we'd be talking with them, and then they would get in on the conversations and relationships started to grow. Well, the community got together in one of the largest houses in the neighborhood. And they had a memorial for her.
Oh, that's sweet.
So we all came together. We didn't know one another from anybody, and we all came together to remember her.
Nice.
And the gentleman, he did not know, but his mom took out life insurance on both of them.
Wow.
And whenever she passed, he got a few $1,000s. And he was able to buy a car, and he moved up north where his mom was, where she had a job and everything else set up for him to get back up on his feet. And it gave him the ability to start over. And instead of sinking into a depression, he, because of the community that started to grow around him, that was able to build him up and feed into him, and to help extinguish the anxieties that was there, and to help grow his faith. Everybody was God-fearing, which was amazing. They helped him grow his faith, and instead of him going down the path that could have ripped him apart, he could have ended up right there with his wife. He moved forward because he knew that she would want him to live. He knew that she would want him to get healthy again, and to continue life. And it wasn't going to happen with his kids, because his kids didn't care. His kids didn't even show up to the memorial. But he had the opportunity. He was able to get a car, get a place to stay up north, to get the job, to continue his life. And he would talk about his experience with his wife to help build other people up. But because of their small amount of faith, we showed up. Because it was really random that we even moved into that house. We had to work on that house before we could even move into it. It was flea infested. Homeless people broke the windows and were living in it, and everything else. It was a mess. Holes on the walls. I mean, it could have been condemned.
Yep.
But we were in a place where we didn't have the money to really live. I was making less than $600 a month. And this house, we rented, we made an agreement with the guy who owned it. We'll fix it up. We'll do all the maintenance. We will bring it back to where it's supposed to be at. And we pay $300 a month for as long as we live in the place. And he agreed to it. And whenever we were able to fix a problem, we'd fix a problem. Yep. So us getting that place was just by chance. But we were put there for a purpose.
Yep.
And just because two people spent every day praying that somebody would come and that God would put somebody in their path. They had a little bit of faith in a terrible situation.
Yep.
And it helped them overcome the anxieties. Whenever she passed away, she wasn't anxious. She was actually a very happy lady whenever she passed away. Sick as she was, she enjoyed the last days of her life. Mm-hmm. And it's because of the fact that, they had friends. They had people supporting them. Every day we would come out and sit down with them and talk. Whenever we could give them money to help them with their bills, we would make sure that we helped them with their bills, even though we didn't have much. But what we could give, we gave. We were able, their faith, it wasn't us.
Yeah.
We can't take the credit for it. It was their faith that decreased the anxieties of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And they would even tell, they even told us, he even told us, I don't think she would have lasted as long as she did.
Wow.
If it wasn't for the fact that we didn't judge them, because we were only one step ahead of them. We were so it was one more job letting us loose.
Yep.
For us to be right where they were, but they would thank us, but they would thank God on top of it, and they had every right to be like Bakugo. Mm-hmm. They had every right to be angry.
Yep.
They had every right to it. Most people in their situation would blame God.
Yep.
They would be mad at God. And at that point, I believe God understands. He understands that's pain. Mm-hmm. But in their pain, they thanked God for it. They, as soon as God intervened, their faith got rid of their anxiety. And they didn't go down the Bakugo path. Mm-hmm. The Bakugo came to where they were at his own bottom.
Yep.
And that was whenever, in the fight.
Yep.
Whenever he finally broke down. And I think that's a big thing. We live in a world where everybody's worried. Mm-hmm. They're either anxious about the government, they're anxious about what's going on in the world, they're anxious about what people think about them, they're anxious about social media and the news press and everything else. But if they would do the hard thing, and that's put their faith in something bigger, put their faith in God and the fact that if God will take care of a bird, God will take care of you. You're more important than the bird. If God will take care of a wounded animal, God's going to take care of you in your bad spot. Gotta have faith. Don't give up. Always look to the light. Jesus is the light. And as long as you keep your eye on the light, it's going to keep you from falling into darkness. Once you hit that depressive anxiety state, that's when you're blind to the things that can help you.
Yep.
And having faith in the life giver can open your eyes to things. It can open your eyes to what you need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's a food bank that's right around the corner.
Yep.
Whether it's trusting that God's going to take care of your need, and somebody sees that you're struggling,
yep,
and they give you a car. They see that you are riding a bike miles to go to work, and they toss you the keys to their car.
Yep.
You're living, you are homeless. You're living in the back room somewhere, you know, trying not to get caught. And all of a sudden a path is paved for you to buy a house. I mean, I'm throwing you hints of, you know, little glimpses of mine and Raver Mom's life. And none of it could have happened without us having faith that God was going to pull us out. As we've experienced what it's like to be homeless. And we were looking at the statistics. By the money that we make, at the economic bracket that we are in, we should not own a house. We are an anomaly because we own a house. Because we don't make enough money to own a house. I, for months, drove miles back and forth to work. My regional manager gave me a car. He threw me his keys.
Wow.
I mean, it had a lot of miles on it because that dude traveled the state.
Yep.
But he gave me a car to make sure that I could get to work without being tired and agitated, because he saw that I was willing to do the work. And I prayed every day, God, give me a car, you know, or have somebody start picking me up, please. Yep. You know, so much. And if we were to sink into our depression, if we were to give in to the worry, none of it would have happened.
No.
You know, and it's because God, we know you're going to take care of us. We're impatient at times, but we know that in your time stuff's going to happen. And all of these scenarios led me to another bad spot where I ended up meeting you.
Yep.
And this ministry happened. A ministry that was just a calling and a thought was able to happen.
Yep.
But I had to go through all of that to make it happen.
Yep.
Raver Mom had to go through all of that to make it happen. You know, and it's a God thing. It's a faith thing. So, yes, this verse it's saying the hard. It's saying what we see as impossible. Because, again, like I said, we shouldn't own a house right now.
Yep.
Almost anybody else in our situation, with the amount of money we make, with the amount of kids that we have, they won't be able to buy a house.
No.
Nobody would give them a loan. Nobody would be crazy enough to even just think about it.
Yeah.
We are a bad bet. Okay. But here we are.
Yeah.
And the only thing that it could be was that God intervened at the right time. The right information came to Raver Mom at the right moment, and she talked to the right person at the right time.
Yep.
And here we are. And the insane part is 0 down. 0 down.
That's
for
crazy.
Nothing. Okay. Impossible situation. Impossible series of events. But it happened. With God, all things are possible, even though we see it as impossible. Bakugo wants to be the number one hero.
Yep.
All Might was his hero, but All Might didn't give Bakugo his power.
Yep.
He gave Midoriya, a nobody with no quirk, his power.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to know something? Just because Midoriya has the power of All Might doesn't mean that he's going to become the number one.
Nope.
Bakugo has the tenacity.
Yep.
He has the right state of mind, especially as we go into that last season. He has the right state of mind. He is sacrificing himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing it willingly, and he's beating himself up and pushing himself to limits that nobody would think he could do. He's doing things that people were like, how?
Yep.
You've never done that before. You haven't reached this point before. And it's that will make him number one. Do I think that Bakugo would become number one before Midoriya? Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think that he has the characteristics of a true hero.
Mm-hmm.
Where Midoriya, again, he has the Marvel Comics layout. Bakugo has the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Bakugo has the real battle. Bakugo has to fight to overcome. Bakugo shows what a true hero is. And even Midoriya is looking up to Bakugo going into the last season. I mean, think about that.
He's always looked up to him. That's the crazy part.
So, in my mind, even if Midoriya in the storyline became number one, in Midoriya's head, he's not going to really be number one. Bakugo is.
Yep.
All the negative characteristic traits that Bakugo has is the reason why he's becoming the hero that he is. Despite a very terrible name.
Yes.
It was that explosion murder god Dynamite.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Despite all of that garbage, he's developing into a truer hero than what any of them are. And it's because he's overcoming the negative. He's overcoming the anxiety. And he is an example of what finding faith is. He's an example of finding faith in the midst of all of the stuff that's pulling him down. And whenever he finds that faith, whenever he lets loose in that episode that got both of us looking his way, he just started skyrocketing.
Yep.
Everything about him changed. Throughout all the battles with, what's his face? One for All.
Yeah.
The guy that he transferred his power into, starts with an S. Cannot remember his name. He's the guy who decays everything.
Yeah.
His powers decay.
Yep.
Throughout that entire battle, you see Bakugo letting everything go.
Yep.
And you see him overcoming all the garbage in his life. And it's because of his faith moment. And, you know, it's more of a faith in himself moment. And faith that he can do it. Than a faith in God thing.
Yeah.
But it's still an act of faith. Because not only does the Bible teach us to have faith in God, it also tells us to, teaches us to have faith in what we can do in God's kingdom and what God can do through us. To have faith in the actions, to have faith in the gifts that we have. So the Bible isn't, it's also got stuff in there about having faith in oneself. And that's what Bakugo found.
Yeah.
And I think this verse really carries over to him very well, and what we can learn from Bakugo. Again, to me, he's one of the most negative characteristic-wise, that we can talk about.
Absolutely.
But he is also one of the characters with the biggest turnaround.
Yes, definitely.
And you can learn so much from him.
Yep.
We can learn how to be a baby from Midoriya.
Yep.
We can learn how to build ourselves up from Bakugo.
Yep.
I mean, huge difference between the two characters. You know, and yeah, I mean that's the reason why, you know, I've always wanted to do a Bakugo episode because you always say you like Bakugo.
He is the best, yeah.
But I wanted to do an episode on him, but I wanted to do an episode that did justice for him. And to do an episode that just talks about his character is it. I mean, it kind of puts it on display. You know, all of us, we go through garbage in our life. And no matter how small.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit there and think, oh, I've never gone through anything like that where I've been tested, or I haven't gone through anything where I've been almost homeless, or I haven't been provided for, anything like that. But think really hard. You know, it goes back to, okay, you could have been bullied growing up.
Yep.
You know, I've known kids who committed suicide because they were being bullied.
That's sad.
You know, and there are people who have overcome suicidal thoughts.
Yep.
Guess what? Right there. You had faith in God that He was going to get you through it. You had faith in yourself that it was going to get you through it. Your self-esteem went up. And you could get, you know, and you built yourself up, or somebody fed into you and brought you to the light, you know. And some people see that as small. I'm sorry, to me that's a huge thing to you know. We talked in the first season how the devil, the battlefield for our heart is in our mind. The devil's going to attack our minds. And I'm sorry, if you overcome suicidal thoughts and you overcome depression like that, you just won a big battle.
You did.
That's not just a mental thing. That's a spiritual thing. That is one big victory. You know, that's something to, you overcame that. You know, that's a big part. That's huge. That's bigger than going from homeless to not homeless in my book. You overcame that junk, and now you can move on and do bigger things. You can go on and help somebody else out of that situation. You know, and you know, never see the small victories as pointless or worthless. Those small victories are huge.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the victories that change your entire life.
Yep.
You know? And again, Bakugo.
Yep.
Small thing. But for him it was huge.
Yeah.
To us, you could just see it minuscule. You're pitching a fit because now you're not going to be the number one hero. No. You got the stuff to be the number one hero.
Yep.
It's right there. You know, you got to overcome that tiny little piece of doubt in the back of your head. You know, it's the small stuff, the small anxieties, the small worries. Those are the ones that can eat at you the most. You can overcome it.
Yep.
Have faith in yourself. Have faith that God will do what He says He can do. Have faith that God's going to take care of you. You don't have to have a large amount of faith. You don't have to have a faith that is going to move the mountain. You don't have the faith that's going to shake the foundations of civilization.
Yep.
You got to have enough faith to know that you're going to come out of it. And I think that's where we're going to leave that. So I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Just some fun questions. If we don't get to the game this episode, it's all good. Because this is, you know, this episode's full of good stuff. But just some Bakugo related questions. Okay. Do you think that Bakugo would be different if he did not have a rival in Midoriya?
I don't think he would. I think he would be the same. Because he has the rival with Todoroki. He has. If Midoriya wasn't there, I think he would have a rivalry with Ingenium.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. I mean, me personally, I don't think that would make a difference because All Might would have passed his power on to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that person would have became a rival to him at some point. If he was going for number one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, at some point. Yeah.
I still think at some point down the line, that rivalry would have stoked because the rivalry would have been for the number one spot. So he would have been older by the time that happened. Where with Midoriya being his rival at a younger age, that battle went at a young part. So I agree. I don't think it'd be different. I think that he would have had a different rival, like you said at the start in the academy. But I think that eventually down the line, it would have been a All Might Endeavor type rivalry.
Yeah, rivalry. Yep.
So here's a funner question: if Bakugo had to work a normal job, what job would be the funniest for him to have?
Oh, the funniest? Probably a therapist.
That would be hilarious. Oh, that's terrible. Tell me how you feel about that. Suck it up. He's the therapist we all need. Yep. Get over yourself. Do you think that they'd be in here whining? No. Go out there and kick their butt, then you don't have to worry about it. He'd be an 80s, 90s therapist. One that's not so funny, I think it'd be a little comical, is if he worked in a popcorn factory.
Okay.
Like it'd be more of a comical thing, not so much just flat. No, holy crud, that'd be hilarious type deal. No, it'd be more of a comical thing of don't burn the popcorn. You know, I think anything in the restaurant industry would be hilarious because of the fact that
he could not last in the restaurant industry.
It'd be like, why is it taking so long to cook? Bam! No!
Oh, no. Could you imagine him having a bad customer?
The excitement that he would have whenever somebody wants their steak well done.
No, return. That would be even worse. What do you mean it wasn't cooked properly?
That'd be terrible. Bakugo in a service industry, period. Would you see him as a hotel concierge? What kind of tip is that? Here's your luggage, extra crispy. Oh, that'd be terrible, man. But funny enough, I think one that he would be good at would be like a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
You remember in the earlier seasons with the little kids, they brought the little kids in.
Yep.
And how he actually was okay with them.
Yep.
And he was very stoic.
Yeah.
But the kids loved him.
Yep.
You know, and whenever they needed protecting, they weren't afraid to go to him.
Nope.
I think he would be good as as like a kindergarten teacher.
Gym teacher, okay.
Because just think about it.
Standard high school gym teacher. That's where he goes to retire after his superhero career.
You're not running fast enough. I know how to light a fire under your butt. Jump through the fire, you. But yeah, the kids, they do a good job, and then he sticks his hands in the air, and he just lets little pellets of sweat out, and fireworks. He'd be the amazing one. Yeah, those who can't do, teach. Those who can't teach, teach Jim. Yeah, no, that'd be terrible. I don't want to go swimming. You don't want to go in the pool? Fine. As he makes all the water evaporate, throws you a skateboard. Get in the pool. Yeah, that'd be funny. All right, man. Do you have anything to add?
No. I got nothing.
All right. Well, like I said, we went a little long in the discussion, so I think we could skip the game this week.
All right.
Skip the questions in a cup and stuff like that, because we would run very long if we did that. But I think the episode's been good. I honestly think that it was something that evolved into something else.
Yeah.
And I think that this episode had a whole lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from possibly, again, the most negative character.
Yeah.
It has, to me, the most good that we're probably going to pull out of any of it. But join us as we close in prayer. Father God, I thank you for the opportunity to, come before you and to be able to talk to you daily, to put our worries before you, Father God, to come to you as a ear that listens, a hand that comforts and guides, someone who can take care of us if we take a moment to stop and have just the smallest amount of faith. And God, I thank you for the opportunity to get behind the microphone, to fellowship and come together with extremely great friends and family, and go on this mic and to put your word out into the world in such a new and profound way. God, I pray that as we go forward, that we continue to look for you in every single thing that we do in our life, that we see you in the things that we watch and in the things that we participate in, even the stuff that is created by artists and animators. As we continue to watch our favorite characters in anime, Father God, may they point us back to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us on Rev's Otaku Talk. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook at Rev's Otaku Talkers and on X at Rev's Otaku Talk. We'd love to hear from you, so drop a comment, leave a review, and share your favorite anime and God moments with the community. Also, check out Rev's Otaku Shop to grab some awesome merch, and don't miss out on a bag of Rev's Conco Heat coffee. The link is in the description below. Until next time, guys, keep your anime collection strong and your faith stronger. See you later.
Have a good night.
Buzzcrown, can you keep it up? Listener mail and fan debates. We love the art the Lord creates. From Studio Ghibli to Naruto, God speaks in ways you didn't know. Stories rise like rising sun. We break them down one by one. True, this ain't just hype, it's revelation. Anime with holy inspiration. Otaku life with transformation. Faith and fandom, no limitation. It's Revs! Otaku Talk! From J-Jo's post to Spirit Lead, we laugh, reflect, and plant that seed. It's Revs! Otaku Talk! So hit that play, don't walk away. Let's geek and grow in Jesus' way. O-T-A-K-U, talking truth in all we do. Revs crew, rolling through. Faith meets fandom just for you.
Taku.